Hey everyone, this is just a little warning before the episode starts about some of the things that we're going to talk about tonight that may be things people don't want to listen to. First thing is we will discuss rape as it is part of the movie that we're watching tonight. Not really any way around that. So if that's something that you don't want to listen to, I understand, and I can completely agree with skipping out those parts of the episode, as well as politics. We spend the first 20 minutes or so talking about the election, politics, our feelings on the matter, and things like that. If you're not interested in hearing those things, you might want to skip the first 20 minutes of the show. That's all. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Welcome to the show. Holy shit. The world has ended, I think. But it's okay
We're on our
because we're definitely on our way.
We're in pre-apocalypse mode, yeah.
But we're surrounded by friends, which is, I guess, nice. I'm here today with my co-host, as always, Travis. Say hello, Travis.
Hey there.
That foreign
God
voice
damn
to
it,
the
Travis.
God damn it, Travis.
No, I'm saying he gave you a perfectly fine straight line. You just left it
Oh,
laying there.
yeah. Oh, no, I did. I should have. Yeah, I should have been like, say
You
goodnight.
know,
You know.
I try to set it up like T-ball for you, and sometimes you hit it out the park, and sometimes you don't. And I don't like to, like a good
I'm
coach.
not-
I like a good
You don't
coach.
underline it.
I don't point out when you
State Farm
fuck
is
up.
there.
You know, I'm just let you be like, there you go.
Sometimes you got to
That's good
subvert.
coaching.
Yeah, you dropped the ball on that one. That's okay. That's what happens. It happens to everyone. You'll get it again next time. We're here with one of our longtime friends. He was we joined him for a couple episodes or for an episode of his podcast a few weeks back. We are here with Precious D Dominic. Say hello, Dom.
Hello, Dom.
Thank
And
you.
don't go.
Oh, is that how
See,
you do
that's
it?
how it's done. That's how it's done.
And as per the usual, I guess we will talk about how everyone's weeks have been in I guess one weekend. We're 1 weekend.
Worst week ever.
So last week me and Travis set up basically we set an embargo to be like, let's not talk about politics, mostly because I think we were both still suffering from some PTSD. We then proceeded to reference JD Vance fucking couches for almost an hour. So
Yeah, that's
we
not
failed.
going away anytime soon.
Yeah,
I've
it's not.
decided.
Yeah. We failed at that front. So I don't see how we can avoid talking about this issue. It kind of fits perfectly into the podcast. Like we started last week by saying our fiction podcast became nonfiction real fucking fast, and did not see that coming. But here we are. So how's your week been, Travis? Tell us.
It's not too bad. I'm back to doing like bug testing at work, so I'm not having to deal with customers directly anymore. So that's nice. So
You mean
just
computer-related bugs?
well, we can say that.
Okay.
I'm testing actual bug like insects. That'd be a great
Okay.
job. Like
I
all
was
right.
hoping that you would just
I
like
love that for
inhale.
you.
I was hoping that something horrible had happened and you'd maybe inhaled some kind of I don't know, some kind of stimulant, and you were experiencing some kind of like David Cronenberg thing, and like you were
Oh, God.
turning into bug at work,
Getting tested for bugs.
there was a whole bug thing
Was that
going on, but
like an what is it? Existenz? That
yeah,
movie?
existence, yeah,
Like
yeah,
that?
Existence.
yeah.
I live that lifestyle pretty often. Yeah.
I can see it. I can see it.
But yeah, it's been
So
pretty smooth.
that's cool. Nice.
All things
Well,
considered.
Dom, how was? Did you have a decent week, all things considered?
I mean, I got 3 packages today at 6:15 in the evening. They were delivered,
Oh.
all role-playing material.
Nice.
And yeah, my week in my personal life has been fine, but my my emotional life, my inner life, my political life, it's been a fucking disaster. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And I was in New York on 9/11 and lived through COVID like all of you. And
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, there's one thing that I won't go into, but a loss in the family that was pretty bad. But
Hmm.
as far as the long-term ramifications for society and the planet, this is the worst thing that has ever happened to me that
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
been
it's
that I've been
pretty.
witness to.
Oh yeah.
Not the worst thing on a personal level, but the worst thing
Yeah.
for
Well, yeah.
humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
it's
gonna
up
be
there.
bad.
It's definitely up there historically.
Oh yeah.
It's it's going to be bad. He's a as a teacher, longtime listeners, if you're just turning in, welcome back. If you're just turning into the first time, hi there. I am a teacher. Believe it or not, I am not trying to brainwash your children, nor am I trying to give them litter boxes,
Somebody's
nor
got to
am I
Oh God,
trying
I forgot
to
about the litter
change
box thing.
their gender or any of
without
the
permission
sort
while they're at
without
school.
permission while they're at school. Yes, none of those things happen. I have been working at schools for 14 years now, which is a long time, and it makes me feel old
Mm-hmm.
to say. 10 of those years I have been teaching. Um, None of that shit has ever happened in any schools. It's all fucking made up. It's all made up bullshit. In spite of all of that, he is now in charge of the Department of Education, which he has announced he is getting rid of.
Yeah.
There's a good idea.
So what happens next? I don't know, especially in the southern states that don't really spend a lot of money on schools. Looking at myself in Tennessee, I don't know.
Well, don't forget one of the top states though is Mississippi, right?
Yeah, right. Perfect.
Is that-
The states can
No.
handle that. No, so like as a teacher for that long, I can say that like the Department of Education, it's never been perfect. It's a flawed
Mhm.
system, certainly. Systems are set up to be, systems are set up to decay. That's kind of the nature of systems.
Mhm.
They're prone to decay. It's up to us to repair them and
Entropy.
fix them. Yeah, entropy.
Yeah.
We're supposed to fix them over time to stop that. It
Right.
has not been fixed for a very long time. You can blame a lot of that on Ronald Reagan. Let's just call it what
I
it is.
blame Reagan for everything.
There you go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Reagan ruined everything. We're
Yeah.
still suffering from that son of a bitch.
If we go back, we if you go even further back, you could probably trace it to something else beyond that. But what Trump is going to do, if he does half of what he promised to do, holy
Uh,
shit. If he gets to do all of what he said he's going to do, then I will be moving out of the country. Um,
God
so
willing.
yeah, I'll be trying at least. We'll see.
Our
Who
I
knows?
feel our only hope is that he will be as lazy and incompetent as he was the last time. Because he hardly
I,
did any of this shit. He
oh
hardly got
yeah,
anything done last time.
Yeah,
Though
it's
part
true.
of that is because there were a lot of people around him saying, "Sir, you can't do that."
yeah.
Yeah,
Level-headed
because
people that he
well,
has now
the new
fired and replaced with
the new
bootlickers.
qualification, yeah, because that's exactly it. The new qualification for a cabinet position is loyalty, not just to what he wants, but to him himself.
To
Yeah.
him personally,
It's
yeah.
genuinely what they're doing.
They
But
basically made him a
Uh,
fucking king. I mean, it's just
yeah.
what we did.
Yeah, yeah.
We elected our king, which kind of sucks because, like, that's not supposed to
Kinda-
be what we're into.
We didn't even make it 250 years. Like seriously?
I don't
I
know.
get.
It's one of
I
those
want.
things. Like I've told my wife several times. Like during the election, afterwards, this entire week, as news has been streaming out and everything, I keep like thinking to myself over and over and over again, did no one pay attention in fucking history class? Did
No.
like everyone just like sleep during that? Like
Yeah.
did everyone lack? Does
I
everyone lack
mean,
just a little bit of critical thinking skills? Like just a little bit,
going back to the
just a
Department of
little bit.
Education
Like
thing, I
don't
mean,
eat your own shit, right?
even with the system in place, what is it like 54% of American adults are like 6th grade level reading?
Oh, it's
Something
lower
like
than
that?
that.
Like no
Lower than
higher than
that.
that?
It's
Is
way
it?
lower
Oh
than that. It's
God.
lower than that. It's definitely
There
lower
are
than that.
people who think the Earth is flat. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Oh yeah,
um,
that's right.
I would
I wanted to
say,
say
oh, go
say
ahead.
something about the kitty litter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I
I got a
heard
lot of
so
it.
this whole thing was going around about there's kids who identify as cats and
Yeah.
they're indulging that by keeping kitty litter in the classroom. And something I heard, and I don't know if this was in your school, was that actually there are some classrooms with kitty litter buckets of kitty litter, but it's not for that. It's for in case the school goes into lockdown and the kids can't leave the classroom to go to the bathroom.
Hmm.
And
Not surprising.
so there was some truth, like so many of these things. There's like a kernel of truth that's in some
Yeah.
school there were buckets of kitty litter in the classrooms, and
Yeah.
it was for the goddamn school shootings that nobody does anything about,
Yeah.
Which,
and
yeah.
and not because kids identify as cats, and therefore we're gonna let them just poop in the classroom in front of everybody. What the
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
it
Well,
was an
As
emergency thing.
it's
how
very
does
interesting.
anybody
The
imagine anything like this?
I
You
don't know.
know?
Because people are all over the internet perpetually online, and they have nothing, and they can't separate truth from reality, fact
Mm.
from fiction. So what I was going to say to that point is, working as a teacher during I've been in a lockdown. We had a school,
Oh
we had a
yeah.
shooter
Mhm.
outside of my school here in Memphis, and it was my responsibility to keep 19, 16-year-olds quiet for 2 hours, and I did it. That was
Dang.
hard. And those
Yeah.
kids and I have, like, every single day now when they see me in the hallway, it's always like they come and like talk to me, because we basically just sat there and just talked, like, not as like teacher and as adult, just like as like human beings, because that was the only
Right.
way I could get them to relax during that time
Mhm.
period. Shit like that is intense, right? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, nothing is done about it, and it's kind of a problem, just a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the fuck is going to happen with all that. It makes me nervous as how I work at a school that is predominantly Hispanic students. Like, most of our students are from other countries, who our
Mhm.
families are just moving here, and
Oh,
so, like, a huge percentage. So a lot of them are very nervous, and
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
some of those parents may have voted for him too, which
That's
is
the
Yeah.
thing.
hard to
Yeah.
talk about.
Because
But yeah, that seems to be
so
what the facts are saying right now, at least. But who
I've
knows?
been I've been listening to the news, and there's been a lot of post game analysis.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot of, oh, the Democrats need to do this, they need to do that. Oh, Kamala should have done this and that, and it's all contradictory.
It is.
Excuse me. It's all, she was people didn't vote for her because she wasn't pro Gaza enough. People didn't vote for her because she wasn't pro Israel enough. And like that all across the board.
Yeah.
The reason Donald Trump won is because a significant portion of the population, possibly a majority, are stupid and mean. And that's all
Yes.
there is to it. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with any policies whatsoever. People are stupid and mean. He actually apparently got 4 million fewer votes than he did last time. So it isn't
Yeah.
even really a majority
No.
that of the
No.
population that
No.
voted for
No.
him. But that still means the majority are stupid and mean, because Kamala got apparently around 12 million fewer than Joe did the last time.
Yeah.
So those people were stupid for not bothering to show up to
Mhm.
vote. And what the reasons were, I don't know. But this was not as high of a turnout as the last time. I don't know why they thought it wasn't. I don't know why they thought it wasn't
Yeah.
important. I don't know who they would have voted for if they showed up. But people are stupid and mean. They're too stupid to know what their own interests are. They're too stupid to know what policies are. They just vote for people based on feelings. The fucking right is always talking about facts don't care about your feelings. Their whole
Hmm.
campaign was based on nothing but feelings and lies. They didn't care at all about the facts. They never have. They're just a bunch of fear mongering, lying, mean bastards relying on their voters to be stupid and mean, or mean, or both. And
Mhm.
that's all there is to, and that's always been the problem. And it's the inherent problem with democracy, in that the majority of people are stupid. But what
Yeah.
else
Yeah.
are you gonna do?
I'm all for
What else are you gonna
socialism.
do?
Oh,
Well,
absolutely.
socialism is not
Well,
undemocratic.
No.
it's still
That's a
democratic,
whole
but
It should be.
We can
But that
go on a
and
whole
that's the
different
reason.
conversation.
If people weren't stupid and mean, we wouldn't have capitalism. The only reason capitalism survives is because people are stupid and mean.
Mhm.
Oh, let me make you rich. Let
We
me work
are-
my ass off all day making you rich. Sure. Where do I sign up?
We are firmly in the deep stages of late stage capitalism.
Yep.
Check
there's
out that
only two
book
places
by
to go.
exactly.
Yes, but is
and
the end?
either
But is the other end of capitalism? Is it socialism or is it what these movies are about?
It's you have a choice between the two.
Yep.
It's either
I mean,
your
well,
options.
like late stage capitalism goes either to socialism or
We're
fascism.
talking listeners. We're talking
Do-
about a book by Frederick Jameson. It's a good book. Check it out. It's on Amazon,
Mhm.
which is maybe not where you should buy it from, but hey.
do-
Well, right.
is that
Bookstores,
the title?
local.
But remember, in Star Trek, before they got to their Star Trek future,
Mm-hmm.
they had to go through a period of upheaval and turmoil first.
Yes.
So hopefully we can survive that.
Oh,
period.
absolutely. I mean, could you imagine a replicator being developed now? It'd be awful. It'd be the worst time for it. It would just be for the upper 1%,
There
and
was
everybody else would be.
there was an episode of Lower Decks the other
Oh,
day
yeah.
where what they were doing was this planet had just joined the Federation and just gotten access to replicators and become post scarcity society, and the job of the crew was to help them dismantle capitalism. And the people were just like burning money in the streets and throwing it up in the air and just woohoo. But there were a few holdouts who didn't want to give up their power, and that was the conflict of the episode.
Well,
and now we have Shadow President Elon.
yeah.
That won't last.
He's
That
Yeah,
really
won't
going to
last.
have his hand up the back on this one.
I don't think that relationship is
No.
going to prove to be as fruitful as maybe he thinks
No.
it's going to be.
No.
Hopefully
Their
not.
egos
but
will get in
Oh.
the way.
You would imagine so, right? That seems to be
I mean,
the kind
fingers
of the
crossed.
common thing that happens with these kind of relationships in the past with him, is that there's some kind of big blow up of the sort. I don't know. Who knows? It's a weird world we live in.
Yeah.
It's cruel and unforgiving. Let's talk about the fucking movie. Why not?
Yes.
I feel like
Sure.
if not, we'll just fall down a rabbit hole of talking about politics for
let's
like
get
the
to the
next
real
2
world here.
hours. let's detour into the world of 1991 to 1992. Tonight, we are talking about a Mad Max ripoff. But as let me find my quote, as TV Guide in 1993 called it, far from the worst of the Mad Max ripoffs. That was their review. Far from the worst. High praise. We're talking about Neon City, which is, I wrote down, maybe one of the worst names for a movie I could imagine. It describes absolutely nothing. I mean, I know it's a plot point of the movie, but it describes nothing. I don't get anything from the title. I'm like, Neon City. Okay, cool.
Yeah, you think there'd be a lot more neon in a movie called Neon
I've
City.
had worse. I've had worse.
Yeah?
We covered a movie called Pussy Cake on the 31 Days of Horror this year.
Oh.
Tells you nothing. It's the name of the band. There's a band. There's an all. It's a movie about an all-girl band with the word pussy in the title, and yet it is not Josie and the Pussycats. And
there's another band with there's an actual like real life band, a Russian band, Pussy Riot.
Mm-hmm.
So a
little
bit
that's
of
what they had
life imitating art.
I think that's what they had in mind.
I lost my
anyway.
wife.
Yes, this Neon City. Yes, what about it?
Oh, did we lose Matt?
He just said I lost.
I've been gone for like the entire time.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, I lost internet like right after I said Neon City.
Okay.
Well, dang, they didn't.
That's all right. We
the
kept it
recording
going.
any.
We kept it going.
Nice. Yeah, I was gonna say it still says it's recording, so I'll try to edit it back in.
We're
But
good.
cool. We'll see what happens. Well, I'm back. Welcome to the internet. There you go.
Yeah,
Maybe
right.
Elon's listening to us and heard it. He
Yeah,
does own
right. It's
63% of the satellites. So this
God.
is I don't know what you guys talked about, so I'm just going to jump to my notes here. This movie came out in February 26, 1992, but it was filmed most of 1991, and it was a Canadian movie, Canadian production, directed by Monte Morkman.
Yeah, I'd never heard of that name before.
Yeah, neither had I. So Monte Morkman was an actor, writer, director. He's a man of many talents. He's mostly was in Baywatch and Dallas. Those are his kind of big credits as an actor. He's also in this movie. He's at the very beginning. He's the guy that like talks to Michael Ironside's character at the bar at the beginning before he like takes off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's like that little. He has like a little cameo there.
Oh, is the one with the star on him?
I think he was just a random guy in the bar. I don't really exactly know if he was anything important. He only directed like 3 movies, and he only wrote 1 movie, and it was this movie. And so not a whole lot of directing credits. The writers, there are 3 writers of this movie, so Monte wrote it, part of it. Already the fact that it has 3 writers, I think that's like maybe too many.
It shows.
Yeah, so the other 2 writers are a fake name, an alias, Buck Finch. That's not a real person. That is actually the fake name of a female writer, Anne Lewis Hamilton, who was mostly wrote a bunch of TV shows. She was having, apparently, this popped up on Wikipedia. She was having a hard time getting jobs as a writer in Hollywood, being a female. So she started using fake names as males to write scripts, and this is one of the ones that she used a fake name for. And the thing that they changed was actually Michael Ironside, the main character, was supposed to be a female. So it's supposed to be a like two girls relationship thing.
Oh,
well,
yep. They changed that.
Advanced, but I could see that being changed back then.
Yeah. I mean, she could have been a female and the prisoner been a male.
Could have been.
Yeah, right.
That would have.
They could have changed that.
That wouldn't upset it.
But Michael Ironside.
I'm not opposed to that.
So
I'm not opposed to the 2 girls. But
what if we keep the casting, but Michael Ironside identifies as a female?
I'm for it.
Just throwing it out there. You know,
I like it.
Ask his agent if he's against it.
He could have been Ringo, and she could have been the bounty hunter.
You know, you could mix this up. Could mix it up.
I said Ringo. That's not the name of the character.
Reno.
Reno. Yeah.
Well, no, there's a reason. There's a reason I said Ringo. We'll get to that.
Oh, I got you.
I'm looking forward to it. So the third writer is a man named Jeff Begum, who only wrote 2 things. It's this. He's also the producer of this. He also wrote a movie that I really, really like, Saturday the 14th.
Oh, really?
I know that movie. I know that.
Yeah, it's a really funny horror comedy.
It's a goofy movie.
It is a very goofy movie. He contributed to the writing of that. He was one of the writers on that as well. So
awesome.
That's kind of the producer and the writers of this Canadian little film. We'll talk more about Canada in a minute, even though this movie was not made in Canada.
Though, I believe though that Friday the 13th Part 3 is actually Saturday the 14th.
Getting very specific.
I'm saying it takes place the day after Part 2.
It does. It does indeed. Our stars of this lovely movie are Michael Ironside, who is playing against type here. Oh God, Michael Ironside has been in so many goddamn movies.
Only
barely. Yeah.
He tries his best. He's trying here. He's trying to be a good guy. He usually plays a villain. He actually filmed this movie the same year he filmed Highlander 2, where he was the villain.
Oh.
Which is, I think, the only other. He was the villain in Highlander 2. Yes, he was.
I was just talking about Highlander today, and the whole franchise.
You know, there's that meme going around of like how many days. Yeah, we talked about that a couple episodes ago. I was going to say there's that meme going around where like, how often do you think about the Roman Empire? I feel like for me, it's how often do you think about Highlander? Because it's probably every day. Just about every day, Highlander comes through my mind in some form, shape, or another. Do you have a favorite Highlander movie that isn't the first one?
The first one's the only good one.
Yeah, the first one should have been the only one.
Yeah.
And the only sequel, because it's complete, I don't have to explain this. It was not asking for a sequel. If any movie was not
Mm-mm.
asking for a sequel, it was that one. But
Let's
of
make
the
so many of them.
Oh
but
God.
my favorite of all the ancillary material is the animated series.
Oh God,
Okay.
that's maybe my least favorite.
Is it?
I
It's
don't
Well, they
like
made a
either
game
the
that was
animated or
really
the
bad.
TV. The game is awful. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's worse.
Highlander 2 is fucking
I
awful.
used to watch The Raven.
Raven is
Oh,
the
yeah.
Raven. The Raven.
forgot.
Yeah. Highlander
I
Endgame
used to
is
watch The
awful.
Raven. I liked it.
Yeah,
Highlander the
they're
Source is bad.
the source might be.
Yeah.
The
I don't.
Source is
It
one of the
might be
worst ones. The Source somehow does the impossible task of making Highlander 2 look not that bad. Somehow, some way. It does that, which is interesting. Yeah.
I don't think I
So
saw that.
Michael Ironside is
Oh,
obviously in
Anywho.
Highlander 2.
yeah.
Other movies he's in: Starship Troopers, Total Recall, Scanners, Top Gun, The Machinist. For our younger millennial listeners, he was also in the Jet Jackson movie. He was
Whatever
also
that
in a
is.
movie me and Travis have talked about, which we will never talk about on this podcast ever again after this. He was in Crime and Punishment in Suburbia.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, you don't ever
I
want
don't
to
think I
talk
know
about
that
that?
one.
No, I don't ever want to talk about this movie ever again. I hate that fucking movie.
What about
And
you
I
didn't
like
mention
it.
Space Hunter Adventures in the Forbidden Zone?
I have not gotten there
Ooh.
yet. That was coming up, as well as Free Willy and the next
Okay.
Karate Kid, Major
Okay.
Payne, Prom Night 2. The list goes on. Dude has been in a shitload of movies. Do you have a favorite Michael Ironside movie that isn't Crime and Punishment
I
in
mean,
Suburbia, Travis?
Oh, jeez. I mean, I don't know if I can top that one. I'll tell you this. How about this? I really like. He was the Sam Fisher in Splinter Cell Theory or Splinter
Yeah,
Cell.
yeah, he was.
Yeah, I was trying to say too many words. Um, so I liked that. It was really cool to be playing a game and hear his voice.
He does have a good voice.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't know.
I've
Like,
always had a soft spot for Space Hunter, but
Is a fun one.
Turbo Kid is very good, and I think
oh
fits
yeah,
the premise of your show.
mm-hmm.
I love low budget 80s sci-fi movies.
Mhm.
And there was a time when I was like, there's never going to be another one of those because it's just that period is over. And then somebody made Turbo Kid, and I was like, somehow in 2015 they have made a low budget 80s sci-fi movie, and it's even got
Yeah.
fucking Michael Ironside in it.
Gots to. My favorite Ironside movie, besides maybe this one, is Scanners. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He is paired along in this movie. He's got quite an ensemble cast. We'll talk about this movie. This movie is basically Stagecoach, the Western, if you've ever
Yes.
watched that. It's basically
Yes.
that in a futuristic setting. It is literally that. So the cast is quite large, but each of them kind of has like a lot of screen time, honestly. So,
Yeah.
but alongside Ironside, the character that gets the most screen side is Vanity. She's badass when she goes by one word. Weird connection. She also pops up in the Highlander TV show.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, as well as she was in Last Dragon, which is a movie I know you love.
Yeah.
She was an Action Jackson.
That just showed up on streaming.
The Last
Oh,
Dragon
did it?
did? Nice.
Yeah, it's one. I forget which thing, but I turned it on, and it was when they put stuff up front to just like it. This just now is on the platform.
Yeah,
Last Dragon popped up. I was like, oh hell yeah.
that's a good one. Last Dragon's a fun time. Yeah, she was in that. Unfortunately, she is dead. Obviously.
Oh, well, hell.
Did you not know that? Well, sorry.
Oh, I
just
don't.
spoiled it for you.
I didn't look. I didn't look up most of these people.
She was one of Prince's she was like one of Prince's collaborators and I think she had a lot of drug problems from what I was reading. She ended up dying of kidney cancer or kidney failure after years of being sober though. So she did eventually get sober.
Well, that's good.
But apparently the guys that she dated is quite intense. She dated Adam Ant, Prince, Billy Idol, Nixx Sixx.
Dang.
Quite a list. Apparently she according
That is.
to Nixx Sixx's autobiography, the Dirt, she's the one that taught him how to freebase coke. So
Oh,
go.
okay.
There you go.
Somebody's
That's a
got
fun
Nice
time.
contribution.
Yeah, that's fun. Joining these two beloved heroes are Bulk, who is played by
Yes.
former NFL player Lyle Alzado.
Alzado.
Alzado. Thank you.
Never
Thank you.
heard it out
Yes.
loud.
Never heard
Yes.
it out loud.
Wow.
This is actually the last movie he was into.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he died as well.
I did see that he did. Yeah, he was
Football
like,
is rough on the body.
Yeah. He was also besides being in this, he was in Who's Harry Crumb, Tapeheads, Ernest Goes to Camp, and a TV show that's going to show up in our podcast soon, Learning the Ropes.
Oh,
He died of brain cancer in 1992. Yeah, this is the last movie he was in.
yeah.
We also got Sandy. Valeria Wildman is who plays Sandy, which is Michael Ironside's ex-wife.
Mhm.
She's been in a ton of TV shows, tons of soaps, and as well, she was in Crime and Punishment in Suburbia.
Oh, there's so many connections. Are you sure you don't want to talk about it?
I
Ever?
don't.
I have to watch this now.
You don't. It's not a good movie. It's a really bad movie that Travis, for some reason, likes and will defend. And it's
I
Is
like
it a
bad
remake
movies.
of Crime and Punishment?
no.
It's
No. It vaguely
no.
talks about the book. I think they read it in the English
Oh,
class in the movie. It's
There-
mostly about
there's
horny
a-
high school students.
Oh,
really
okay. It's
is.
one of those movies. Is
Yeah.
it Fast Times kind of a movie?
No.
No.
Not played for
It's pretty
laughs at
dark.
all. It's very dark. Very
Oh,
dark.
it's very up its own ass.
I mean,
I'll go ahead and
It's
tell
very
you.
pretentious.
there's
It's very
some
It
dark
pretentious.
really is.
There is some dark shit in Fast Times at Richmond High, but
Well, that is
That's
true.
true.
Just some casual abortion, you know.
You know.
yeah.
Our villain, air quotes, villain, Tom, is played by Nick Clar, who has not really been in a whole lot. He was basically had a 10-year gap between this movie and the next movie he appeared in after this movie was the James Dean TV movie starring a young James Franco.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, which I was kind of surprised by because I thought Tom was very over the top, but I didn't think he was a
Yeah.
bad actor to take that like 10-year gap. Maybe he just, I don't know, maybe he just didn't enjoy it. Who knows?
Maybe so.
He was doing theater.
He was doing theater. A twink
Ah.
is or as I call her, the rich girl. She is
yeah.
played by Juliet Landau.
Yep.
And yes, she is Martin Landau's
about to-
daughter.
Okay, I was gonna ask.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, you're not familiar with her? She got
shows up in
well-known the
BioShock.
90s. No, she got fairly well known in, I guess, the 90s as a recurring character on Buffy and Angel.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Oh,
yeah,
I
she
might
was
have to-
Drusilla in Buffy. She's also the voice of the little
That's-
sisters in BioShock. She's been in
Drusilla
a
sounds really
ton-
familiar.
yeah. She's been in a lot of TV shows. A lot of she was in Ed Wood. She's been in a lot of stuff.
Oh.
Just a lot of stuff. Yeah. She's also in a movie that we might talk about one day, Theodore Rex. Yeah, I love me some
Another
Theodore
great
Rex.
movie.
Did not realize she was in that.
Yeah, Theodore Rex is a
Masterpiece?
movie that
masterpiece?
Theodore Rex is a movie that was burned into my mind because it was a movie that every time, and I mean every time, for about 3 years, from the age of about 9 to 12, every time we went to Blockbuster, I wanted to rent Theodore Rex. Sometimes they had it, sometimes they didn't. But every single time, my ass was looking for Theodore fucking Rex. And I have the VHS cover burned into my mind forever. Because I could always tell if they had
wearing-
it.
I'm wearing my Blockbuster t-shirt right now.
Nice.
Nice. Yeah, Theodore Rex is not a good movie, but it is a
No.
fun movie.
It's a good time.
Our speaking of good times, Dickie, the comedian of the group, he is
Yes.
played by Richard Sanders, who
Yes,
was
he
obviously in WKRP Cincinnati,
Mhm.
tons of stuff. He was also speaking of video games, relating to what we just talked about with BioShock. He was one of the voices in Day of the Tentacle, which is another really cool video game.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I don't
You
know
never
that
played
one.
Day of the? Oh, it's
No.
a fun adventure game, old
Is it?
Lucasfilm kind of style adventure game like Monkey Island. stuff like
Okay.
that. Yeah, fun. And then we have Dr. Xander, who shows up in Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls. These are just some of the movies he pops up in. He's another one that has a bunch of credits. The
Yeah.
Shadow, Dark Man, Gleaming the Cube, Max Headroom.
Cleaning the
Yeah,
cube.
yeah,
Oh yeah, love
Yeah.
that movie.
yeah. So
Unironically, I do like that movie.
that's our cast, and like that's pretty much everybody that shows up. So this is like they have a quite a credit list of different little things that they have shown up in. So yeah, those are our background. And like there's not a whole lot more to talk about when it comes to the background of this movie. There wasn't like any big producing like drama. There wasn't like any on scene set thing to talk about. It's basically Stagecoach, which the
Yeah.
writer of the movie acknowledges that she set out to make Stagecoach if it was set in a sci-fi setting, which this is basically what it is. Um, so I guess we'll talk about, as we always do. We've done this 3 weeks in a row now because I remember this time the top songs. Then this movie came out.
Nice.
This is when I would insert like a like a little theme song music. I need to get more creative with my theme songs. I found us an intro song, but now I got to get a repertoire.
Yeah, we need to
Travis, would
get
you like to take a guess as to what were the top 5 songs when this movie came out in 1992?
that would have been early '92, even. I
Dom
don't know
as
if you got
well.
that specific.
Take
Oh
both
no,
of
I
you.
don't have
Work
a
together. Let's work together.
92. I don't have a
Oh,
fucking clue, man. I have
Yeah,
February
92.
February 1992. Yes,
I
February
was what
26th.
9 years old,
No idea.
maybe 8. Um,
Think back.
trying to think back. I don't know, maybe some.
Grunt. It's almost grungy. We're almost getting to grunge.
I
We're
was
almost
I
getting
was
into grunge.
okay. I was living in New York and
What a time to be
attending.
alive.
I was attending the the National Shakespeare Conservatory in New York,
Ooh,
trying to think of what kind of stuff was on the radio.
I don't know. Would there be any like GNR on there? Any Guns N' Roses? They were
Not in the top 5. Not in the top 5.
not in top
Maybe
5. Okay, so by
not in the
that
top 5.
time, because there was still probably a. I mean, because right before grunge really took hold. Well, I don't know. I mean, grunge would have been up there at that time. In '92, I'm gonna just go with Nirvana.
So there's no Nirvana, but
No Nirvana.
number 5 is someone we've already talked about so far on this podcast.
Oh God.
Vanity.
Related to Vanity,
Prince?
one of the men she
Prince?
dated. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Prince.
Some
Diamonds
Prince.
and
Oh,
Pearls is number
Okay.
5 with Prince.
okay.
And one of Prince's greatest rivals is right there above him.
Oh, who was he rivaled with?
A man that's dead.
Are we
Lyle
talking about Michael
Alzado?
Jackson?
Lyle Alzado had the number 4 hit in 1992.
No, Michael Jackson. No.
Michael
Oh,
Jackson.
fuck
Okay.
yeah, fuck that guy.
Remember the
In
Time
92.
by Michael Jackson. Yeah,
Ah,
that was number 2.
I don't know that
was number
song.
2. The number 3 hit, I literally have no idea. I think this might have been a one-hit wonder. I do not know this song. This is "I Love Your Smile" by Shanice.
Mm,
Maybe
Can't
I've heard that
can't
one.
say I've
I'll
heard
have to-
that one.
I'll have to play that later. I might recognize it, but it's not.
Yeah.
Number 2 is also kind of a one-hit wonder. So do you have any guesses for early '90s one-hit wonders that would have been number 2 in February of 1992?
Would it have been something?
It's very danceable.
Oh,
It's a dancey song.
it's a dancey song.
Yeah.
Something. Something
Makes you want to rip.
Genesis-y, like.
No.
Dancing on the Ceiling.
It's "I'm Too Sexy" by Right Said Fred.
Oh, Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
I don't know if I'd call it dancey.
Someone's dancing to it.
Oh, but they're about to murder somebody, and they're like, they're like covering themselves in a skin suit or something.
And the number one song when this movie came out is kind of a really lame song. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think you would get it. Maybe eventually over time you would. It's one that you would probably never think of. It is "To Be With You" by Mr. Big.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
That was
know.
the
I would
that was the
never.
#1 song in February 26, 1992 when this movie came out. So
That's
probably not the one that would
wild.
have immediately came to mind. Yeah, right. Like that's
No.
not probably what your mind would have been set to. That's why when you mentioned Guns N' Roses, I was like, not the
Mhm.
group you were thinking of. Nope, nope, nope.
Yeah,
Mr.
right.
Big, Mr. Big, Mr. Big is our answer. Unfortunately, yes. Yeah. So there you go. So we're gonna take a little pause and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about the plot of this movie and then talk about what we thought of it. So we're gonna take a break and we'll come right back. Bye.
Hey, so this is not really an ad. I'm not being paid for this or anything. Just interrupting the podcast to give a little shout out to some people that I really enjoy. Um, if you're wanting to refinance your home or looking to buy a home for the first time and you live in Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, or Texas, then you should really look out Mortgage Financial Services, especially the lender Miranda Noland. She's really wonderful. She's getting started in the business. She's very knowledgeable, though, and she's also very friendly and helpful to everyone that she works with. And she will go above and beyond to help you and just give you information about what you need to do to get a home, what steps you should take, even if you're not necessarily ready to buy or if you're looking to refinance. That can be something that's difficult for people who have never done it before or and need some assistance with that. So she's great with that. Her NMLS ID number, that's hard for me to say, is 256-7401. One more time, that's 256-7401. And you can also look her up on Miranda. That's MIRANDA.mortgagefinancial.com. And thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day and continue listening to the show. Bye.
Oh my God, we're back again. Tell everybody you know. So we're going to talk about the plot of Neon City. So immediately, and I mean immediately, you know two things. One, this movie is set in 2053. Two, this is a Mad Max ripoff.
Yep.
Immediately. Um, and the next thing I wanted to talk about is the first fight scene.
Oh my god.
What did you? It was okay. Good. I thought it was maybe one of the most horribly directed things I've ever seen in my entire life.
At least horribly edited.
It was hard to tell what the fuck was going on. It was
Yep.
just like
It
horses
was-
in the camera's face. I'm like, okay, yeah.
It was so bad and hard to figure out that even the characters were like, "Where are you? Face me!" And then he's just sitting in the open.
Yes. So
Yeah.
for a moment there, go ahead, Dom.
Oh no, I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay. So
Mhm.
for a moment there, I thought whenever that part happened, when they're like, "Oh, it's all confusing," I was like, "Well, maybe I'm the asshole. Maybe the director wanted it to seem confusing." Because I was very confused. I didn't know
Yeah.
what the hell was going on. I couldn't keep track of who was where, who the main character was. All I know is basically the movie starts with Vanity driving a motorcycle. She shows up to this little gas station, little thing. She's greeted by a friendly woman who's apparently killing and eating dogs.
My god.
Yeah, then
Not comment on that.
she's immediately killed by another group of people that show up, and then we get this horrible fight scene on horses, and then yeah, we also get introduced right after this to our hero, air quotes around there.
Air quotes.
If you call Han Solo a hero, then I guess you could call him a
Oh.
hero, because I think that's basically what
Protagonist.
Ironside is doing here. Is he's trying to
Mhm.
do like his Ironside? He's a bounty hunter. He's a
Yeah.
bounty hunter.
Yeah.
His name is Harry Stark, which sounds like a character Bruce Willis would play.
Yeah.
Is he a bounty hunter or a person who just happens to stumble across bounties?
You know,
Yeah, that
the
was
universe
Because
just
that's
kind
what
of
happens.
falls into his hands.
He's not actively looking for this person. He's just
Oh
like,
yeah, that's
oh,
right.
you've got a red star. There's a bounty on you. Yoink.
Look,
I didn't even
Success.
consider it that way. Yeah.
a good portion of his success is just being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it happens more than once in this movie. So yeah, he basically he saves Vanity, quote unquote, and then immediately knocks her unconscious and arrests her because he sees that he has a red star. She has a red star on her
Yeah.
wrist, so she's worth some money. He presumes,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And then immediately we talked about this before Dom joined the call. The music and tone of this movie. Um Both are interesting. Travis, you said you wanted to talk about the music.
Yeah, the music, like when you get into them, it's a little ways in there when they start getting into like the transport and everything.
Yeah.
You get this weird, like slapsticky, cartoony, like comedy music,
Yes.
and then immediately you get this like really what am I trying to say? Like almost like a romantic kind of score, like right after that, whenever he's just talking to a girl he knows or a lady he
Yeah.
knows. Like it's just like I don't know if they knew what they were making. Like it's
It-
so out there. It's like
yeah.
Whiplash the movie.
As we are introduced to more and more of the characters, yeah, the movie definitely has a lot of that like tonal whiplash where you don't really like it's kind of hard to tell if they want to be like serious action kind of sci-fi or if they want to do like a comedy sci-fi or like what what they're kind of setting up to do
Mhm.
here because it doesn't really it seems like it wants to be a lot of different things.
And through it all, I will say
Well,
Lyle Alzado giving it
uh,
his all. I
I
loved it.
think now I might be misremembering, but I believe it was Lyle Alzado. Uh, my parents met him at a party once,
Oh.
but my mother did not know who he was. I think it was some sort of like a political fundraiser kind of a party. So
Huh.
that's why he was there, and there was a number of people like that. They're just more most of them were more like, famous in political circles and stuff. But so she was just like not a, she was very nice. She was like, "Oh, it's nice to meet you," but she had no idea that, oh, this is somebody famous that I'm supposed to be impressed with. It was a famous football player, and I'm pretty sure it was Lyle Alzado. But they're way
Nice.
downstairs, so I'm not gonna go
Yeah.
ask them right now.
Oh no.
There you go. No. So Michael arrests Vanity. He takes her to the next town and was prepared to drop her off. Things happen, right?
Things happen.
And beyond things happening, we also get introduced to our other cast of characters. So we meet Dickie, who is the comedian who I literally wrote, if Travis survives the apocalypse, this is him.
So,
Um,
Oh, I
I have
actually had a similar thought where I was like, I really hope this isn't what I look like.
so I took notes on this movie, and they are a total of 2 notes. The first note is Neon City equals Stagecoach, which I didn't know
Mhm.
going in. Just partway through the movie, I'm like, "Oh, this is Stagecoach," having
Mhm.
never actually seen Stagecoach. Um, I've seen it now because 'cause I'm like, "Well, now I gotta go watch
Oh yeah.
Stagecoach." I had seen the second remake when it came out, the TV one with Willie Nelson and the other,
mhm,
outlaws in it.
yeah.
And my other note is Les Nessman. Because for our younger listeners, we mentioned this earlier, but Dickie is played by what's his name? Sanders?
uh, yeah, Richard
Yeah,
Sanders.
Richard Sanders.
Richard Sanders, who is most well known for playing Les Nessman on WKRP in
Mhm.
Cincinnati and the sequel reboot series WKRP in Cincinnati. And
Mhm.
I always loved him. So I was just it took me a while though. I was like, this guy looks familiar. I know this guy. Who is this guy? Because he looked a little bit different and his
Yeah.
personality is a little different. And I think it's once I actually got on the stagecoach, I was like, oh fuck, that's Les Nessman. It
Yeah.
was just great to see him getting to do something, other
Yeah.
Yeah.
than that
He
one
gets
part.
he does have a lot of fun in this movie. A lot of
Oh
Yeah.
fun.
yeah, he's having a good time.
Yeah. We also get introduced to Tom, and I wrote down notes. Tom is insane.
Yeah.
Um, he's basically a serial killer. He is a
Yeah.
serial killer who assumes the identity of a doctor that he kills at the beginning of the movie, as
Yeah.
he is injecting some kind of drug into his eyeball. That's how we're introduced to him,
Yeah.
which is an interesting way. Yeah, he's an intense dude. He's kind of the this movie. I guess he's the closest thing we have to a villain in this movie.
Yeah.
Right.
Because like other than the skins who show up to like attack the group as they're moving, there's
Mhm.
really not like any antagonist. There's
The
Right.
Jenkins,
skins.
but he just shows up
Well,
at the end.
Yeah.
so
The skins
because this
confuse me.
because this movie is stagecoach, but it's stagecoach without the racism. So they replaced
Yes.
the Indians, the Geronimo and his gang. They replaced them with just, post-apocalyptic marauders
Yeah,
of
Yeah.
various
nameless
kinds.
people who just continuously
Nameless,
attack.
faceless skins. Was there more than
Skins.
one? Or were they all
They were.
skins?
I think they
they're
were
just
all skins.
all skins. Yeah, I think there's just like a
But-
group, a
but they
nameless
were also-
group.
So the people in the stagecoach were shirts then?
Yes.
God damn it, Travis.
Oh, it's so good. It just. Well, I was confused about what the skins actually are because it's like they're out there, they're marauders in the wasteland, but they're also, I think, at a certain point in the city or in that little area that they're in where they start at,
Yeah.
they talk about how the skins have to like they're only allowed to work like certain jobs, and I was like, so what? Wait, what are they? So like they're marauders, but they're also like
They might
janitors. Like
maybe they're mutants. They might be mutants. Because
They
we
might
do
be.
meet some
That-
other mutants.
okay,
They
that
are.
would
We
make
do meet
sense.
some mutants. Yeah, we do meet some mutants. Yeah, the movie is a little not sure of what they are either. I don't think. But one thing it is sure of is that Harry, Michael Ironside, he's got to take he's got to take people to Neon City. So he's got to join this stagecoach, whether he wants to or not. And
Yeah.
well, he decides
really
to go
doesn't want
along.
to.
He really doesn't want to, but it doesn't help. I mean, he doesn't have a choice when they blow his fucking car up.
Yep. Yeah.
We also find out that Vanity killed her parents. Just a tiny little plot point, something that's not going to come up
They-
again or anything like that.
Yeah, they don't
But it
repeat
wasn't
it
really-
20
but-
times.
Yeah, not a
Except
big
it wasn't
deal.
except it wasn't really her parents, it turns out.
Yep.
Yeah.
But boy, do they really want it? I was like, is that really like parent murder is like the worst crime in the future? Like, damn.
Yeah. Don't kill your fucking parents, right?
Like everybody seems like that's the one thing they say, but like, oh yeah, but she killed her parents. Like,
Yeah.
oh, like, is everybody okay? Like,
Nobody
Very,
wants
very
to ask,
sensitive
did they have it
subject.
coming?
they're really big fans of honor thy
why?
mother and thy father.
That one
That's
part
the
of the Bible.
one commandment that went through.
Yeah, they really hold that one true. I wrote down that like when we get introduced to these different characters, this is kind of like when the movie has a really hard time with its tone, where it does kind of like because of the music and some of the slapstick comedy that we get, and it just kind of has a hard time deciding what kind of movie it wants to be. It eventually settles on one for the length of the movie, and it does have a length. It does go on for a lot longer than it needs to.
Yeah.
It stays its welcome, but eventually it does settle on a tone. But here at the beginning, it's a little unsure footing. There's some parts of
Yeah.
this movie at the beginning that are a little rough, but eventually it settles in as we kind of get everyone on the stagecoach and we make our way in this kind of like old, well, kind of shitty looking, souped up, protected RV
Yeah.
post-apocalyptic thing as they're driving. I did like that it was most of the world is covered in snow. I thought that was kind of cool. We hadn't really seen a lot of snow in any of the movies we've watched. We've seen a
Yeah.
lot of desert.
Yeah.
Not any snow. So that was nice to see some snow. It's cool. This was a Canadian production, and Michael Ironside
Yes.
and Vanity are both Canadians. So I did have a question to ask you. Do you have a favorite Canadian province?
Oh God.
Some
I have
light
been
geography.
to none of them.
Yeah, but you got to pick one,
Saskatchewan. I don't know.
Saskatoon?
East Saskatchewan.
I'm a big fan of Vancouver myself,
Oh, in BC.
Yeah.
I do not have one. I love them
No.
all equally, as if they
Never
were my
been.
own.
I
As
would,
if
I
they
would
were
like
your
to
own.
go.
Yeah, I mean, right? It's not that far.
Ah,
You don't have a DUI or anything. Maybe they'll let you in.
right? See?
So
Like
yeah,
the
we
business.
also moving away from Canada, we find out that the group is made up of a lot of people. So not only do we have Harry and Vanity, we also have an old man who we eventually find out is Dr. Xander, who is responsible, quote unquote, for all of this
For the apocalypse.
Yep.
for all this nonsense. Harry's ex-wife is also on board.
Yes,
Mhm.
who's
We
also a
defin-
prostitute.
Yes, because we
Yep.
needed layers upon layers upon
Yeah.
layers.
Well,
Uh,
it's weird though. This
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. although it's Stagecoach, they really mix things up a little.
They do.
You know, they stir it up. So there's a prostitute in Stagecoach. There's a doctor. There's a more high society lady. There's a lawman. There's a wanted criminal. There is a criminal who we don't realize is a criminal, although the audience strongly suspects is up to something. He's an embezzler in Stagecoach, not a serial murderer.
Yeah.
But they stirred all up a little bit. So the prostitute is the ex-wife of the lawman, and the person that wants revenge is the lawman and not the wanted criminal. And instead of a whiskey seller, we have a wannabe comedian who also has a bag full of drugs.
Yes.
So,
That is Dickie's. Dickie's
Bye-bye bags?
cross-curricular. Yeah, he sells these bye-bye bags, which are basically like euthanasia bags.
Yeah.
Which do show up in the movie in a couple different ways. Honestly, it's kind of interesting how they set that up as like Chekhov's suicide bag, and then continued to pay it off throughout the movie. It was interesting to see that. So yeah, we get them. We also get Tom, like we talked about, the serial killer, who is assuming the role of a doctor, although he is not a doctor. He's just playing one on TV.
Nice.
We also get the Twink, I think is her name, who's the politician's daughter, who is basically kind of like the excuse for everything that happens in the world to be explained to the audience.
Oh yeah,
because us like her don't never seen this before. So
why she's on vacation or whatever, why she's not already in Neon City is not at all clear.
No,
because she doesn't seem to know anything about the outside world, and yet is out there in it.
Yep.
Picking up a stagecoach in Shit Town, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
To get back to Neon City. Like, but why were you in Shit Town in the first place? Was she
mentions at one point that she was in Switzerland.
She was in vacation, or she's been in Switzerland for like a couple years or something.
I don't know. Okay. Yeah, but they never say if what's happening here is happening in Switzerland, or is it like Switzerland just fucking fine? If so, stay there. Like,
well,
why are you coming here?
It appears that things are fine for rich people anyway.
Yes. Well, that seems to be the case in America too right now.
Yeah, it's not a complete and total. It's not a complete and total apocalypse. It's diet apocalypse.
Diet apocalypse.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. Yeah, the wealthy are seemingly doing just fine. So she is on the stagecoach as well. We have the mysterious man, Mr. Xander. We also have Dickie, and we have Bulk, who also is connected to Harry as well, because they used to be friends. But Harry sent Bulk up to prison for, I think, 5 years, they said, and he just got out.
Yeah, it was 5 years.
He broke the law.
Yeah.
He broke the law, man.
You gotta do what you gotta do. He's just trying to do his fucking job. God damn it. So yeah,
that's another apocalypse light element, in that there is law.
There is.
Yes.
There is
some kind of order here. Yeah, so that's the entire cast, and they're all gonna get on this stagecoach, and the first stop is Astro City. However, problems are gonna show up.
Yep. Yeah. Basically everything that can happen in this world happens to them.
Yeah. True. We also find out that Sandy is going to Neon City to get married. So Harry's ex-wife is getting married to somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's kind of set everything up. Yeah, one of her Johns is. He's nice to
Johns was to marry her, which is quite a bit different from Stagecoach, in which the prostitute is getting kicked out of town in Stagecoach.
Yeah, here she's kind of leaving under her own free will. I don't think she's forced out exactly. So yeah, on the way there to Astro City, they encounter a Xander cloud, which is what they call them, which is very fun.
Yep.
Yeah,
which fun.
Basically gives them an excuse to overact as they react to some maybe less than stellar some special effects. Just a lot of swapping the colors of the screen to negatives, and then on negatives it's like, ooh, fancy, but it's nothing really happening. But yeah, so they go through this Xander cloud. Sandy has a problem; her mask falls off, and Harry steps in to help his ex-wife. So maybe he still loves her. Ooh, maybe not. It's hard to say. We get some tension though, right? We get tension in the group, and that's the whole thing. They come to a stop, and this is where we meet some mutants who Harry helps out here because he's got a soft spot for people. He's not a complete dick. He helps them out by letting them
Yeah.
kill themselves, though. So there is that. It is. How do you read that? If he does help them though. They obviously want to die. He's letting them die.
Yeah, see? It's,
As we're going on this trip is basically where also all of this is happening. Twink is like I said, she is the prototypical, the archetype character that is new to this world, and because she has lived elsewhere, she is the reason for everything that is happening, the brights, the Xander clouds, the skins, everything to be
Mhm.
explained to the audience. She serves that as a narrative function, which is kind of funny after you notice it, because you kind of can tell what's going to happen next in the movie. It's going to be like, oh, something's going to happen, and they're going to explain to her what's happening.
Yep.
Because that happens a lot. So we hear about the Xander clouds. We hear about the world and how it came to be, and we hear about the brights, and kind of just get a bunch of stuff and learn all about this world. Right. And then we get to our first stop, which is at Astro City, and this is when we get our Bulk gives us his Oscar scene,
Oh, yes.
which was
It was
honestly
good
it wasn't
It was
bad. Like it
good.
wasn't
I
bad.
thought-
It wasn't bad.
because
Absolutely.
he's very much a football player being an actor for
Yes.
most of the movie, and then he
Yeah.
gets this. Oh, he keeps talking about going to visit his sister on the way, and
Mm-hmm.
he hasn't seen her in like 5 years, and she gets killed by the not Comanches.
Yeah,
And-
there you go.
The bad things.
Oh,
Yeah,
God,
and he-
so skin is like, are they just dropping the red on that part?
oh, I don't know.
They might
Is
be.
I don't know.
They might
Is that
be.
how
I
they're
don't know.
getting rid of that's how they're bypassing the racism? They're like,
That was the
it's
hard
Oh.
line edit. That was the hard line edit on the script. Someone was said every time the word says red, just get rid of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
his
don't know.
sister
But
is
anyway,
killed.
yeah, he finds his dead sister, and he has a big big
Oh.
reaction.
He does.
And I
It's
thought
not
he did a pretty good job.
it's not
It
bad.
is a good job.
It's not bad. It's not bad. He does what he can. It's honestly
Yes,
like for a football player
commits.
turned actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doing an emotional scene like that. I mean, he did better than like a lot of other ones that I've seen. Like shit.
Oh, yeah.
Could you imagine? My mind immediately went to OJ. I was immediately gonna say, could you imagine OJ in this movie? No, you can't.
I mean, the only thing I remember him from when I was younger was, hey, that's that guy from Naked Gun movies.
yeah.
And I think he did a good job there. He could emote. So he might have.
Naked Gun.
He would he could emote slapstick.
This is also
Like he had good
where
face hold.
beyond
Facial
talking
movements.
about OJ Simpson and who,
Yeah,
and
right.
who he maybe or maybe not murdered. He definitely committed murder.
Yes.
We also, this is where Reno, the Vanity, this is where she decides to try to take off, and
Yes.
Harry has to stop her. And he explains to her basically like, if you leave, you're gonna end up dead. Stay with me, girl. And that's
Mhm.
kind of it. She eventually, they kind of have this whole tension that culminates in them having a weird. And I wrote
Oh, it
down
is.
maybe the only committed to film Michael Ironside love scene
Yeah.
that the world
God
ever
willing.
ever needs to just see. I can't think of too many
It's
other
just
movies he fucks in, but oh boy, that is
So
Oh,
a thing.
at that point, she has explained how it wasn't really her parents she killed, and why,
Yes,
mhm.
yes, she does.
and how she took the blame for all the other. It was a foster home situation, and they were
Yeah.
bad foster parents, and a bunch of the kids escaped, and the parents end up dead, and they all get caught, and she takes the blame for all of them. So it's unclear whether
Mhm.
she even actually killed them at all, or just took the blame, or they all killed them together. I don't remember now.
Yeah.
But
They didn't expect them to die in the fire, is what it was. Because they set
that's what it
the
was.
house on
Yes, they
fire.
set it fire.
Yes.
And
Right. Yeah.
they just didn't expect
Right.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. They assumed they would get out, and they didn't.
Yeah.
That's the problem
They
with
didn't.
fire. It's kind of uncontrollable. And so they bond over this, and then they have a love scene. And he's like, he's arresting you, And he hasn't yet said, you know what, when we get there, I'm not going to turn you in. He hasn't made that clear.
Not
She
yet.
just
No,
decides,
not yet.
it's
And
cold.
after,
Well, it's not that cold. They're in a fucking bath or something.
yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
so I
that
was gonna
bath
say
scene.
we jumped quite a bit forward, but that's fine because the only thing that we really skipped over is Tom killing people because that happens,
Yep.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the bright. So they have a bright attack, which is another excuse
yeah.
for them to overact.
Another
And
and another side
yeah,
effect of Xander's whatever he
yes,
Yep.
did in the
yeah,
war.
and the
There was some
yes,
kind of war going on, and he invented something that was meant to stop the war, but instead it
yes,
fucked up everything. I don't remember
basically
the details
Yeah.
of how.
that's basically it.
I
Yeah,
don't think they've explained it very well. But
yeah,
yeah, whatever
No,
he did fucked up everything.
he fucked up, fucking Xander.
it was
He
lasers,
fucked it
man.
up. So yeah,
God damn it, Travis.
in the movie's honestly like moving along pretty fine, and then it gets
Hmm.
to that bath scene where we get, and this is the part where the
It's
movie I was like, I think you could cut all of this out. Like
absolutely.
I don't need them to
Some would
fall
say
in love at all.
should.
Some would say should. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need the sex scene. I don't need Tom trying to become he's already a serial killer. I don't need him to also become a rapist on top of that.
Yeah,
I
really.
already don't like him. I don't need another reason to
Yeah,
not like him.
we're
Like
on board, movie.
I get it. Yeah, you laid it on real thick. He basically so Tom has killed every time they stop, Tom tries to kill someone or does kill
Yeah.
someone.
If he's alone with
He
somebody.
yes, if he's alone for a
Well,
second, he'll try to kill you.
there's also this person's hurt, Doc. Can you take care of him? Yeah, sure, I'll take care of him. Oh, they didn't make it.
And then he kills them. Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah, they didn't make it, everybody. Sorry, I did my best. And yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Because
actually killed them.
Dickie is killed before that. Before they get
Yes.
to the bath scene, right?
Yeah. So Dickie during the Bright, Dickie is unable to put his what is it? His eyes?
His his
Yeah.
goggle thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he can't get his
He
goggles
doesn't know
on for
how to
some
close.
reason.
He doesn't know how to
Yeah,
close
he
his eyes.
doesn't know how to close his eyes for some reason. And
Well,
yeah,
wasn't he
that
also like he had a wound? Like was he shot or something?
I thought that was his eyes like melting blood.
Oh God, there could have been
I
so
think
many
he got.
possibilities.
I
I
don't
think he
know.
got shot at.
He
I
might
think
have
he
gotten
got shot
shot.
at some point.
Yeah.
Well,
The other
that
thing that we
character.
skipped
That
over is the
character
skins
gets
attacking over and over and over again.
right. Yeah, yeah. That character that he's sort of substituting for gets shot in Stagecoach with an arrow. So
Okay.
I believe he does also get shot with a gun, as well as having problems with the bright. But
Yeah.
rather than trying to fix his wound, the fake doc
Yep.
forces
What does he
a
say? Is
bye-bye
like
bag down his mouth.
Yeah, he
because he
basically kills
says,
him.
"Here's a joke," and he's like, "What do you do?" Or what do you, I don't know, what do you do when you're about to be killed? And he's like, "That's not funny." I was like, "No, we know that was it was weird. The doctor was weird, or
Yeah,
fake doctor."
fake doctor. Yeah, Tom. Yeah, that's how he kills Dickie. And yeah, so the skins have been attacking this whole time. Basically, every couple minutes, the skins show up and try to do their best Mad Max ripoff. Some
Yeah.
of the action scenes, they're better than the first action scene that starts the movie. All of them after that are better than the first one. That first one,
Yeah.
when they're on horses, is horribly shot. The
Always,
others are slightly better shot. None of them rise to George Miller's Mad Max in terms of his ability to choreograph action scenes.
Right.
Is nothing close to this at all. These are anytime that the skins show up on dirt bikes or on a car, they definitely seem to be really far away, and it's
Yep.
kind of hard to tell if anything is happening at all, other than sometimes people fall down and things blow up. That's about it. So yeah, they stop in for a bath scene that is completely stupid. It doesn't need to exist. It slows the movie down completely. But we do get to see Michael Ironside in his only love scene probably on film. So maybe that was in his contract or it was like, look, I'll do this Canadian shitty Mad Max ripoff, but I want to have sex with Vanity in it.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't have to be
Stimulate.
filmed. Simulated.
Yeah.
I want people to assume that we had sex on film, right? Because that's basically what happens when they're over here doing this. So the other thing that we find out is that Bulk actually knows the whole time that the old man is Dr. Xander. Kind of reveals at his hand there that
Yep.
Bulk is smaller, a little bit smarter than people give him credit for.
Yeah,
Right?
he
He's been
figures it out.
Yeah, he knew from basically right away. He says that basically like your face was all over everywhere. Like, yeah,
Oh,
you done
right,
a little
right.
bit to change your face up, but I recognized you. And he tells Xander tells him his whole story, basically how he came to be blamed for this whole world. Where he talked
Mm-hmm.
about that, right? He tried to stop all the world's wars, didn't work. Now we're in this horrible situation where apparently the Earth's ozone layer is completely depleted, and the sun is just destroying people with these brights
Mm-hmm.
and these clouds of radiation that keep floating around that everyone has to kind of basically hope to live through. It seems like a fucked up situation. How he does, however, say that he thinks he can fix it, but
Right.
he can't find a lab to get to. Looking for him.
Yeah.
This
Right.
does come up at the end of the movie because the end of the movie seems to set up that he's going to continue looking for the lab because he gets picked
Mm-hmm.
up at the end of the movie. I don't know if y'all saw that, but yeah, at the end he
Yes.
gets swooped up there by Harry and Reno, who decide like that they're gonna fall in love because that's what the movie needed. It needed a love subplot as well.
Yeah.
On top of all the other subplots going on in this movie, it needed another one of them falling in love. Yeah, maybe a little unneeded. I'm just gonna say there, just maybe a little bit. Yeah. So we're off to Reno. Or we're off to Reno. We're off to Neon City. I keep thinking of Las Vegas
Oh yeah.
in Nevada in general. Uh yeah, so we get to Neon City and well, it's pretty fucking snazzy, honestly.
Yeah.
Not gonna
There's
lie.
actually neon.
Yeah, it was pretty neon-y. It
Yeah.
sounds like if you could imagine if someone said this is a neon city. Not
Yeah.
exactly what I would imagine, but pretty close to it.
No. Pretty close.
Pretty close to it if you had like a $200,000 to spend on it, maybe,
Yeah. Right.
So immediately, because Tom is a serial killer, he's immediately invited to go hobnob with the upper elite.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah.
the twink character immediately is like, "Oh, these are my friends," and she invites everyone to the upper elite. So we get to go see how
Mm-hmm.
the other side lives, and they're living pretty well. Not gonna lie,
Yeah. Really.
looking pretty good. We also, during this time period, lose Sandy. She gets hurt during the last skin attack. And this is when Tom has his last reveal because
Mm-hmm.
he goes one bridge too far, right? He sets up that Sandy is also going to die, and this is eventually what kind of everyone is able to get very upset with him for because the movie is about to end, and I mean end real fast
Mm-hmm.
because shit's gonna happen, and it happens back to back to back. So we get to Neon City. Sandy is hurt. Bulk is also hurt, but Sandy is hurt more. She needs to go get some help. Turns out she's sorry too late for her, right?
Yep.
We also find out that there's a serial killer on board the whole time. Who could have guessed? Harry immediately suspects it's Tom. Like immediately.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
And
because it was an
how could you
overdose of
not?
barbiturates, right?
Yes.
Isn't that what they said? Yeah, it was an overdose of barbiturates.
And Tom is
That.
also creepy, like creepy as hell. Like
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
he also tried to rape Vanity at one point. Like so
Yeah.
like I feel like
Yeah.
she should have like that could have been like discussed or something like is like, hey, even if he isn't a serial killer, maybe we should keep an eye on him for the raping thing,
Yeah. Really. Well, apparently, it's that
Or
whole
just
thing of
kill him
like,
for that,
yeah, right. Oh, exactly. But I guess rape culture still exists in the future. They kept to
Well,
that, so
there was a
women
weird
can't speak
there was
up.
a weird thing though where they have a their little altercation, and then he comes out claiming that she came on to him and he rejected her,
He
Yeah.
does.
and she does not contradict him.
Yeah. Really.
She
I
does
don't know
not.
why.
The
I don't
perfect
know why
time to
either.
I don't know
contradict him.
why she
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So
I also wrote down that she doesn't say anything in her defense, and the movie just kind of like
yeah.
moves on from
Yeah.
there. Like
So I
so,
don't think they necessarily suspected that he was a potential rapist or an attempted
Yeah.
it's true.
rapist, or at least a guy who can't, you know, is
Yeah.
unwilling to
He
accept
made
a no.
himself. He made himself pretty helpful, I think, with a lot
Yeah.
of things in
He
the
appeared to be
caravan, the
he appeared
stagecoach.
to
He
be helpful.
does. He
Yeah,
does appear to be
Yeah.
helpful.
he
He is a
appears to be
doctor.
helpful.
Yeah, yeah. As soon as they get told there's a
Yeah.
doctor on board, the bulk is like, "Oh, great, a doctor!" Like that's always helpful. turns out not helpful in this situation, right? But he's
No.
also not a doctor. He also isn't going to be alive much longer because as soon as Harry finds out that Tom is the serial killer, and as soon as he finds out that Tom killed Sandy, his ex-wife, well, Tom's going to get his fucking ass shot real fast.
Mhm.
Because Tom's dead pretty much right away. Doesn't put up much of a fight. Just gets shot right away. Just killed. Like he just dies. Like that's pretty much it. And this is also when Harry finally comes head to head with Jenkins, his nemesis that we've heard all about this whole time.
Yeah.
But we haven't mentioned him yet, though, have we?
No.
We have not.
We have not.
It's,
This is when he
it-
first
So
shows
it's
up.
about how
There's-
useful.
Yeah. Well, but he's talked about it. So there's somebody in Neon City that Ironside wants to kill because he holds him responsible for the reason their marriage broke up is because their son was supposedly a mutant, and mutants have
because
to
he
be
had all
taken
these
away and
birth
put
issues.
down.
Yeah.
Mutants have to get put down according to the law, and this guy Jenkins was the one responsible for determining that his son was a mutant or arresting him or whatever the process was, and their marriage did not survive this trauma. So he's planning to kill Jenkins when he gets there, similar to how the Ringo Kid is planning to kill one or more people when they get where they're going in Stagecoach, people who killed his brother and his father. And so the guy's now in charge of security at Neon City.
Yes, he is in charge.
But when he gets the opportunity, he decides not to kill the guy and to go off and live happily ever after with Vanity, which so he shows mercy, but I think there's also an element of, well, I can't really kill him in front of all these people. I kind of want to kill him in front of all these people.
Yeah.
But is my vengeance important enough to throw away my life? And get killed by them or imprisoned. In contrast to Stagecoach, where John Wayne fucking kills 3 guys and then goes off to live happily ever after with the prostitute. With the prostitute who does not die. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's the ending
So
is
I
a
thought it
little
was
different.
I also thought it was interesting that this more modern, brutal post-apocalyptic movie has a more merciful ending
Yeah.
than the original. On the other hand, the hidden criminal in Stagecoach is just an embezzler who gets arrested, a banker.
Yeah.
While he's trying to get someone else arrested. And in this one, he's a serial killer who kills several people along the way.
Yeah.
He does kill
So
several
that part is more brutal than the original.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much how the movie ends. Yeah, Vanity and Reno, Harry and Reno, they take off. They pick up Dr. Xander on the way out, and they are going to go explore the wastelands on their own. He's got a new car, got everything a man needs, right? And that's the end credits. That's the movie.
And but then they pick up. So at some point, just before they got to Neon City, they let Dr. Xander, who's been going under the name Wing,
Yes,
Mr. Wing, they don't take him into Neon. They all find out who he is because he uses his skills to help them out.
Oh, that's right.
An attack.
Oh yeah. We did skip over this part. Yes.
And that's the point. And also, I think Lala Zato just says, "Wow, Dr. Xander, that was great," and everybody's kind of like, "Huh?" And they decide that, well, you helped us out, and you're wanted by the entire world, but we're going to let you go. So he's like, I'm just going to start walking that way, looking for the lab. So the very ending is Michael Ironside and Vanity in their car, and they pass Wing, and they're like, "Hey, you want to ride?" He's like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And they ride off into the fucking sunset.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. And that's the end of the movie. So thoughts. What'd you guys think of this movie?
Well, I thought
I had fun. I liked it.
Yeah.
And it made me finally watch Stagecoach. So
I didn't mind it.
I need to
I
watch
didn't mind it.
Yeah, it was pretty
I
good. I mean, it was, there was a lot of whiplash, tonal whiplash, but other than that, it was enjoyable. A lot of good stuff.
I thought it had a rough start, but
Yeah.
once it gets its footing, like once we get the cast together and we realize, oh, this is Stagecoach, and we start getting in the bus and everyone, then I think the movie is pretty fun watch. The whole bath scene, I think you could cut all that. It is a little long. I think you could
Ooh,
cut out like
that's
15
what she
minutes
said.
right there. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
That's what they say about Ironside, from what I hear. I think you could cut out 15 minutes of it from right there, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, not have Ironside have his love scene, and the movie would be a better movie to lose those 15
Mhm.
minutes. But I think what you have is pretty fun little Mad Max ripoff, Stagecoach ripoff, set in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. Yeah, it's a fun watch. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I was completely unaware of this movie before you assigned it to me, and
Same.
I'm realizing now that I was like, how do I not know about this movie? But when we were talking earlier about what year it was, I'm realizing that I was a very poor student in New York, so
Ah.
I wasn't going to the movies very often. It had to be something really special for me to go to the movies,
And
just
this was not
decide to
it.
spend that money. And I there was quite a period when I was in New York when I didn't have cable. Definitely when I was in school, I didn't have cable.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I would not have seen I'm sure this kind of thing was on HBO or Showtime or whatever
I would
on a
imagine.
Yeah.
on a rotation, but I would not have had access to that. So I think that's how it passed me by,
Mhm.
is just because of when it came out. Because normally I not necessarily would have seen it in the theater, but it's the kind of thing I would have watched on TV if it came on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was also not aware of it until we started this podcast. It was one of the ones
Mm.
that whenever I started doing getting my books together for research of different movies we could talk about, it was one of the ones that popped up because I love Michael Ironside. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yes.
But he usually shows up as the villain. So similarly, when I first told us we should watch this movie, expected he to be the bad guy and maybe like Vanity or someone else was like running from Michael Ironside. You know, he
Mhm.
was coming after them, something like that. Did not realize until I actually started looking at the trailer for it that he was the hero, and that's whenever I was like, oh
Yeah.
wow, so it's against type Michael Ironside. Like, okay, what is that like? Turns
Yep.
out, not bad. He plays a decent like hero bounty hunter to his usual menacing gravel voiced villain Jack Nicholson kind of. Is that Jack Nicholson? You glance for 10 seconds, you're like, no, 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 no. They definitely couldn't afford Jack Nicholson. That's Michael Ironside.
Right.
That's kind of, um but I thought uh that the movie was a fun time. Honestly,
Yeah.
it is a good time. Like I said, it definitely has a lot of Western stagecoach vibes to it. It is a
Mhm.
almost a complete takeoff of that, with a little bit of Mad Max thrown in there for a little bit of fun. Speaking of fun, let's talk about what we're going to watch next week because we just talked about this like right before we started
Yeah.
recording again about 40 minutes ago. So, Travis, do you want to tell the audience what we're going to watch next week?
I'm actually really, really excited about this one. I love this movie. It's Tank Girl. I don't remember what year it's from, but somewhere in the 90s.
That's a good question. I don't remember what year Tank Girl came out either. It okay, 1995. I was gonna say for
It
the
was 95.
last.
Okay.
Okay, okay. So we're moving away from 1991 or 1992 because I was gonna say for the last like 3 weeks we've just been hitting 1991, 1992, like 1989, back to back to
Yep.
back. We've been floating in this little like early 90s universe, and now we're gonna jump forward a couple years. Grunge will have finally hit the airwaves, and we'll once again see what was on the charts and also talk
Oh, I'm
about
excited.
Tank Girl, the end of the world that Tank Girl presents, and also the end of the world that our real world is facing, and see where
Yep.
we are in a week. See what craziness has occurred. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed it, please give us a like, subscribe. We're also on Spotify now. I finally took
Ooh,
the time
yeah.
to upload every single episode. This happened due to one of the unfortunate side effects of my the passing of my dog. last week, as we talked about, R.I.P. Dolly, is that I couldn't sleep one night, and so I decided during that night of not being able to sleep very well to spend the entire night uploading our entire backlog to Spotify and iTunes finally. So before my laziness was stopping us, and now we are all caught up on there, so you can listen to us on there as well. Hopefully, if you find us, you also give us a like, subscribe, rate, all those fun things on there as well. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Oh, hold on. My bad. I forgot. We have a
Yeah.
guest. We should plug his stuff too.
Yes.
Tom, say your piece.
Yes. I am the producer and co-host of Monster Movie Fun Time Go, and you can find links to all of our things on our website at mmftg.com. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. We're on all the things. And you can find links to that, to all those things, and to our Patreon at mmftg.com.
Yes. My bad. His links
So
will
thanks
be
for
on.
thanks for having me. And
Yeah.
and our
Yeah.
show is a kaiju podcast. We make our way through the history of kaiju movies.
It is.
But
It's a
in
fun time.
October we do 31 Days of Horror. Yeah, it's fun time go.
Yeah. It is also a fun time. It's a fun time go. Yeah, his links to all of his stuff will be at the episode for this one as well. So you can click on those things and go give his stuff a listen as well. We've been friends with Dom for a long time now. Years have gone by, and it makes me feel
Yes.
very old. But yeah, we could reminisce at the end of the show, but perhaps this is not the time nor the place. So for now, we will say goodbye, and we will talk to you guys next week to talk about Tank Girl. See you then. Bye.